Good sleep should come naturally, and with a new Natural Hybrid mattress, it can. A collaboration between Lisa and West Elm, the Natural Hybrid is expertly crafted from natural latex, natural wool, and certified safe foams to elevate your sleep sanctuary and support a greener tomorrow. Breathable organic cotton and moisture-wicking Joma wool consistently provide cool and comfortable slumber. Every purchase helps fuel Lisa's work with shelters and those in need. Visit lisa.com to learn more. That's LEESA.com.
Hello and welcome to the Paddock and the Pavilion with me, your host, Stephen Wallace. Joining us on today's show is Phil Jaques, the former Australian Test opener who between 2003 and 2014 played for 4 English counties. Phil recalls his successful days playing for Northants, Worcestershire, Yorkshire and Nottinghamshire. The leading Aussie left-hander tells us his favourite grounds, the best tees, and how the English county game compares to the Sheffield Sheild in Australia. Plus, he also reveals the amusing story of his one first-class wicket. If you love your county cricket, take a trip down memory lane and join Phil, who was part of the county cricket family for over a decade. Welcome to the Paddock and the Pavilion, Phil, to chat about your county career with 4 different counties.
Yeah, there's a few there. I didn't quite get the full set, but definitely had a few counties along the way. It was a 9-year journey of county cricket, and I had a couple of stints at a couple of counties. Went back and forth a little bit between Worcester and Yorkshire, and it was a very enjoyable time, and a time I look back on with really fond memories.
Before we talk about that county career, and just to clear up something, Marcus North has played for 6 counties, Peter Siddle 5, and Chris Rogers, believe it or not, has played for 5 first-class counties. He played 2 Cheltenham and Gloucester matches, so he also played for Shropshire and Wiltshire, so he beats you hands down, 7 counties.
Yeah, he's definitely got me covered, Chris. Yeah, you sort of go where there's opportunities, right? The career that I had good seasons in all the seasons that I had pretty much in county cricket. But sometimes county sides need bowlers, sometimes they need batters, so you tend to go where they need a batter or a bowler, and so I kind of shifted where I needed to get an opportunity. As at that point there was only 1 or 2. I think it was 1 at some stages and 2 at some other stages. So you got limited positions, and if they wanted to get another overseas in, you had to move. And if you wanted to keep playing county cricket, and I loved county cricket, I thought it was great for my career and great for my development as well as a player and a person. And yeah, I loved every second of it.
And before you played county cricket, you played some league cricket in northwest England in 1999. How did that come about?
I did, yeah. It was on a scholarship with New South Wales Cricket as a 18-year-old. I got awarded a scholarship to go and have a season of league cricket over there, and made some real lifelong friends at the Northern Cricket Club in Liverpool, and really enjoyed my time there. The Scouser people were fantastic to me, and real soul of the earth. And once I worked out what they were saying, I was totally fine.
Well, you could have played for England. You could have been the Alistair Cook, because both your parents were English.
Yeah, Dad was born in Sheffield in England, in Yorkshire, and Mum was from Manchester, basically right where the Trafford Centre was built. She was on a farm right in the middle of the car park, which got taken over when they built the Trafford Centre. But so I could have definitely have played for England, and my first stint in county cricket was actually on a British passport. That was where I got my opportunity, and was lucky enough to get an opportunity at Northamptonshire.
Before you played for Northants in 2003, you had played Sheffield Sheild cricket for New South Wales, and I must ask you about your first game for New South Wales, because you came in with a score at 70 for 8.
Yeah, about a number 10. In my debut, and it wasn't because I was an up-and-coming left-arm quick. It was because our captain, Shane Lee, had gastro on the morning of the game, and they only had a bowler as the 12th man. So they wanted to get another batter up. So they said, just get on a plane, get up when you can, and we're going to need that extra batter in this game at the Gabba. It was a really green wicket, and I got up there and basically I had to drive from Wollongong, which is where I was living at the time, which is about an hour from Sydney. Drive up, fly to Brisbane, which is 2 hours flight, effectively, and then get from the airport. And I was listening to the cricket on the radio in the cab on the way from the airport, and wickets were tumbling. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to get a bat here. I didn't think I was going to get a bat. And then I got dropped at the wrong entrance because the guy had no idea where I was. So I was carrying my bag and my luggage all the way around the Gabba until I found the players' entrance, and then basically went out there at lunchtime and we were 8 down, and I literally just got in my white, strapped my pads on, went straight out the bat, which was some might say was a good thing, some might say it was a bad thing, but I ended up getting 40. I was second top scorer, and and then got out as a last wicket.
Yeah, there's not many people who can say they batted 10 and then opened in their second innings.
No, that's it.
On their debut.
Wide range.
As I said, 2003, you were playing for Northants. How did that come about?
Yeah, really random, actually. It was like I think I've had two really good stories for my debuts, which I'm lucky with. I was actually doing some coaching at the indoor centre at Moore Park at the SCG, and I was chatting away to the guy who was actually Sam Robson's dad, who plays at Middlesex, and his name's Jim Robson, and he used to be a selector at New South Wales Cricket and was running the indoor centre there, and he was just asking me what I was going to do in the winter. It was coming towards the end of the season, and I said, I'm going to play league cricket. I was going to play league cricket in Surrey. I'd organised a club to go over there, and he's like, oh, okay, what are you doing for work over there? And I said, I'm not really sure. They're going to get me some work. I've got a British passport, so I can do whatever. And he's like, oh, you got a British passport? And obviously Jim had played a little bit. He played a little bit of county twos, I think, on a British passport himself. And obviously Sam went down that road later on. And I think Jim was born in England at the time. And so he just sort of said, he goes, when did you play county cricket last? And I was like, Shield cricket last. And I said, I haven't played for a year. I played 2 games, but I haven't played for 12 months. And he's like, and then he just sort of yelled across the indoor centre at this other guy who was coaching, who happened to be Jeff Cook, who was a batter for Northants. He batted at 4 and 5 in the Northampton team. And he's like, hey, Cookie, is Jaques qualify for county cricket if he's got a British passport? And he goes, when did he play last? And he's like, 2 years ago. Hadn't played for a year, like the whole last year. And he goes, I think he does qualify. And he goes, actually, come to think of it, we need a number 3 batter. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, we need a number 3 batter in the first team. And, we've been chasing this other guy in Sydney and I was at another Aussie guy, and he was coming on a Dutch passport, and he pulled the pin last minute, didn't want to go. And we need a number 3 batter. He said, I'll have a word and get in touch with the CEO and we'll have a chat. And I was like, all right. Anyway, I went home after the night of coaching, got home at about 10 o'clock, and he ended up giving me a call, and we had a bit of a chat. And then the next day he rings me back up, and I'd signed on the dotted line that evening. So happened really quickly. They ended up compensating the club I was paying for, which was a shame for, obviously gone down the road and was going to go play league cricket, but to get an opportunity to go play county cricket at that stage of my career, it was something I couldn't knock back, and it was a real sliding door moment for me in my career.
There was me thinking, because Matthew Hayden had played for Northants and Mike Hussey later that summer captain Northants, that was the reason why you finished up at Northants.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't have even known who I was at that point. I'd played 2 games. I played 1 game, the last game of a season, and then played another game the last game of the next season, and then didn't play it all the year after that. So I played 2 games in 3 years. I hadn't met any of those guys. And then, I basically lobbed in, and Mike Hussey was the overseas pro. Him and Andre Nell were the overseas pros there at the time. And and I was lucky enough to play with Huss and learn heaps off him. And Kepler Vessels was the coach at the time, so I had two world-class left-hand batters to be able to teach me how to effectively bat and play cricket. And I obviously had some ability and knew sort of what I was doing, but I didn't really know my game. I didn't really know playing in different conditions and how to go about planning my innings or anything. I was really raw, and that was sort of like a little bit of a finishing school for me, and really taught me like a hell of a lot about batting.
Fantastic season for you. The side got promotion, and you, because we're in two divisions by then, and you scored 1,400 runs at 58.
Yeah, I started the season like an absolute train. I batted really well at the start and got going. And I think after the first month, I was about 300 runs past Huss, which was, like he was the overseas, and I was this guy that no one had ever heard of coming from Sydney. And it didn't take him long to mow me down. I think he got a triple hundred and two double hundreds in the month after that, and went sailing into the sunset as far as runs go, as he does. Such a world class player. But yeah, it was a really good experience for me to sort of go and experience a new country and play in a tough league and in such different conditions. We were pairing real spinning wickets in that year. We had three like world class spinners. We had Monty Panesar, Jason Brown, and Swanee as our spinners. And like Monty and Swanee were pretty young then, but they were still brilliant bowlers. And so we thought that was our best chance to really win games in cricket, was just insides out. And so I had to learn pretty quickly how to play on spinning wickets, which really helped me when I went back home, because the SCG is probably the biggest spinning wicket in Australia, and I hadn't played much there. In fact, I hadn't played a game there at that point. So it really set me up to be able to have the skill set to be able to go back to Australia as well and be able to perform here too.
So a couple of people there, Sam Robson's dad and Jeff Cook made a real difference to your career.
Yeah, massive sliding door. As I said, like I was plugging away in second 11. I averaged 40 odd in second 11, but I wasn't like in a state like New South Wales, you've got to be averaging 50, 60 at that point. Like we had 8 or 9 batters I thought that were ahead of me at that point. And I jagged a couple of games at the back end of the year, away game at the back end of the year, and then just, as I said, didn't play at all that year before. So I was like, I didn't even know if I was going to get a contract at that point. Hadn't spoken about it. And then all of a sudden, halfway through the season, I got a call from the state coach, Steve Rickson, and said, we want you to come back. We're going to give you a real run at it and give you an opportunity to make it here if you want to take it. So I was at crossroads whether would try and qualify for England and continue playing as a local player in England, or come back to Australia. And then when Steve Rickson said that to me in my home state, for the state that I really wanted, I always wanted to play for, I guess, there was an opportunity I just couldn't refuse, and my heart was sort of saying Australia, and my head was probably saying England, to be fair. I just wanted to give it every opportunity to try and make it here and see how I went.
Next stop then, 2004, was Yorkshire. Were you ever going to stay at Northants, or did you become an overseas player?
So, yeah, I because I went back to play for New South Wales, I became an overseas player. And right up until the week before that season started, Northampton said they were going to actually challenge the ruling. And behind closed doors, I was saying, "Yep, we're going to back you. We want you to come back as a local player." And they'd signed Martin van Jaalsveld at that point, South African batter. So basically, yeah, it was all down to the fact that they were going to challenge this case. And right up until the week before the season started, I thought I was coming over to play for Northants, and then they basically said that they weren't going to challenge it, and they weren't going to follow through on it. And I was sort of left a little bit without a county. And then Yorkshire came in around mid-May and said I think Darren Lemon's mum was crook at the time. She had cancer, maybe. Which was really sad for Darren, and it was a shame that he couldn't get over there. But it sort of opened up an opportunity for me to be able to go and play for Yorkshire, which obviously where my dad was from was pretty big lure as well. They were interested in me as an overseas player. So then I went back over there. It was meant to only be for about 6 weeks, and I ended up staying the rest of that season and played the following season as well for Yorkshire. And then Darren came back after that.
Were there
which then forced me to Worcester.
Were there greater expectations playing at Yorkshire, such a big county?
Oh, massive! Yeah, the fan base there, the expectation was very high. It was very similar, I felt, to the expectation in New South Wales, which is also very high. Biggest county, biggest state. So it was a feeling I was used to, but it was also it was a big county, and you felt that. You felt that when the team was going badly in particular, but you also felt the warmth when you went well as well. And I found the fans there absolutely brilliant. I had a really fond time at Yorkshire, and I played good cricket there, which always helps. I think if I'd had a bad season there, I think I would have felt it a whole lot different. But all the seasons I had there were all quite strong, and I found the people up there brilliant. And I think the fact that I dropped it in the media that my dad was from Yorkshire the week before I went over there, I think I was already a fan favourite before I'd even started. So it was they liked the fact that I was a Yorkie, at least half a Yorkie. I didn't tell them about the mum that was from Lancashire, but
keep that quiet.
I kept that very quiet, and that's probably the first time I've spoken about it, especially around Yorkshire circles. But yeah, it was always a really fond time, and I always had a really soft spot for Yorkshire and really enjoyed my time there.
You got 1,000 runs in both seasons. You're playing with a lot of England players as well in that Yorkshire side.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, Darren Gough, Michael Vaughan. And then a lot of future players as well. There was a lot of young guys there that were, on their way up as well, like Joe Root and Johnny Bairstow and Gary Balance, Adam Lyth, all real up and coming players that were outstanding. Anthony McGrath had played for England as well. Ryan Sidebottom. So there was a lot of England players there, and like absolute ripping guys, really good fellows.
You got promotion in the second season in Division 2, coming third.
Yeah, really, really great season. We played some really good cricket that season, and there's always a really good vibe, good feeling around the change room, and everyone used to really enjoy each other's company, and they had a really fun kind of vibe about the place. It was plenty of banter and just good fun, good humour.
Before we move on to playing for Worcestershire, which you did in 2006, 2007 and 2010, you made your Test debut on Boxing Day in 2005 against South Africa. You played a Boxing Day Test.
Yeah, I was lucky enough. I played 2 Boxing Day Tests in the end. But yeah, to debut on Boxing Day against South Africa was unbelievable. There was 78,000 people there. I hadn't met the captain. I hadn't met Ricky Ponting at all at that point. He introduced himself to me on the morning, the morning of the first training session, and it was a really unbelievable experience. Really, like I've never felt a crowd quite like it. You can actually feel the crowd inside your belly, and trying my best to not shake as the bowler was coming in the bowl. Just through the sheer expectation of the whole day. It was like nothing I'd ever experienced. And I speak to young players now about mental side of the game and what to expect when you play for Australia. And I always talk to them about how do you, are you prepared to play for Australia? And they go, yeah, I think I am. I think I'm ready. And I was like, okay, have you ever trained in front of 2,000 people? And they're like, no. And they're like, have you ever done an interview with 40 people, in a media scrum, asking you questions all at once? And I was like, they're like, no. Have you ever played in front of 78,000 people? Have you ever had the expectation of the world and people all around the world watching you play on television and having 16,000 people glued to a TV on Boxing Day before? And they're like, I was like, have you ever thought about how you'd handle that? And they're like, no. And and then I was like, okay, you got some work to do then. And they're like, yep, okay. And I was like, so did I. To be honest, so did I. To say that I handled it, especially in the first innings, would be a complete and utter lie. I was completely terrified. And it was a tough wicket. It was a green wicket. Sean Pollock, world class bowler on it, and he just worked me over and got me out. Second innings, I felt a bit more like I belonged there and was playing good, and then tried to pull a ball that stayed low and got hit about halfway up my shin. But then I was like, okay, I'm determined to get myself mentally right for the next time that I play. And then I ended up going to Bangladesh, and I got 60 odd and threw it away. I got caught on the boundary in Jason Gillespie's test, where he got his 200. Dizzy's 201, which when he was coach at Yorkshire, he sign off as Dizzy 201 hashtag, which was 201 not out. He was very, very back with him, very forward in going back, very forward all the time and letting everyone know that he got 200 in a test match. But yeah, and I felt like I belonged then. I was like, okay, I can do this at this level. And then when I got another opportunity, another 12 months later, I was 100% ready to go and mentally ready to deal with it, and felt like I belonged at that level after that.
Well, you played 11 tests, average 47, 300, 650s, but it's a time when the Australian batting was so strong. Yeah,
so strong. I didn't get an opportunity until I played. I think I got 11,000 first-class runs before I got a game. We had to really earn your stripes back then to get opportunities. And when you got an opportunity, if you didn't score 100, you're out. And that's pretty much what happened. I didn't get 100 first game. I was out for a year. Didn't get 100 second game. I got 65 against Bangladesh. And they went, it's only against Bangladesh. Out for another year. And then they gave me an opportunity when Langer retired. And I got 100. And I was like, I was determined to get 100. I was only going to get 100 that game. And I got out on 100. I got to 100 and I hadn't thought past 100. And then ended up, and I threw that away. And that was a learning curve as well. And then the next game, I got 150 against Sri Lanka again in the next game. So I sort of felt like then, okay, now I've scored 200s in a row in 2 games. I'm like, I've got my spot. This is my spot. I can relax and can play my game. And I was pretty consistent through the Indian series. I think we got 4 or 5 50s on a bounce, but didn't make 100. And then I struggled a little bit at the start of the West Indies series and felt a little bit of pressure there, and then finished the series quite strongly, got a 70 and 108. And then I broke down and had to get back surgery, and then ended up not being but not getting back into the team. I ended up had a bit of a failed back surgery and ended up having 3 lots of surgeries, which put me out for 11 months. And in 11 months is a long time at that level. And as you said, the batting depth was so strong at that point. To get back in, I needed to knock the door down, and I just physically wasn't there. So that was it for me, really, from a test perspective.
And no Ashes tests, unfortunately.
No Ashes, no. The three buckets I wanted to do was West Indies tour, which I did. I wanted to play a World Cup, and I wanted to play an Ashes. I didn't quite get the World Cup. I missed out on the selection from that. I was in the side leading into it, and then missed out on selection for that, and never got another chance. And then the Ashes, I was in the middle of the cycle, and then I broke down. So I was in there for 2 years, and then broke down, and I never got back. I got back to county cricket and Shield cricket, but never back to the Australian setup.
On last week's show, episode 276, Roland Butcher looked back at the men's T20 World Cup. You can find this show and our whole archive on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and YouTube. Now let's get back to Phil as he remembers his first stint at New Road, Worcester. 3 seasons at Worcester, though, starting in 2006. A lovely place to play, New Road.
Oh, brilliant, isn't it? It's such a picturesque ground, and just a lovely town. You got the Cotswolds at your doorstep, and Worcestershire. The people there were just great. It was it's not a massive town, but it's a massive city, but it's just such a pretty city and really friendly, really homely city. I really enjoyed my time there. The people there were fantastic, and New Road as a ground, what a place to play when it's not underwater.
That's right. Yeah, did you play at Kidderminster, by the way?
I did. I played a Kidman, so we had a season where we got flooded out, and I remember there was flood warnings the night before, and I love my cricket bats. I love them. They're like my third and fourth children, and the rest. I got two children, and my other bats were my were my third, fourth, fifth, and sixth and seventh.
I hope they were Duncan
And
Fernleys. I hope they were Duncan
no,
Fernleys.
they weren't. I did meet Duncan though a few times in the pub. He enjoyed it up there at Bushwhackers. He was always up there, and I had some chats about cricket with Duncan. But no, and we remember getting the flood warning the night before, and they were like, "Oh, it's going to flood in the afternoon tomorrow, so you better get it. Like you better take them home in the morning tomorrow." And I was like, "I'm taking them home tonight. I love my bats too much. I'm not risking it." And then a couple of the other guys were like, "Oh, can you chuck it in the back of the car?" And I had this little tiny car, and I was like, "Oh, I'll try." And I couldn't get any more in. I got one in, and then I couldn't get any more in. And they were like, "Oh, it's all right. I'll come back first thing in the morning." Anyway, they came back first thing in the morning. The floodwaters were up to the roof, and his bats were like popping up and down in the flood. And it was just, I couldn't help but laugh. It was like Christmas morning, the morning of the next day, because we had to go to a game. I think in Brighton, I think. And so we drove down, and all the bat makers had come to the ground, all the reps for all the different companies, and were like handing out bats and plaids and gloves to all the players that needed gear, because they just had no gear to play the game with. So it was like Christmas morning for those guys, and they just had to. There was no knocking in; it was just straight out and do your best. But it was just one of those really strange, weird times.
Two promotions and a relegation with Worcestershire. But you did win a trophy. You won the Pro 40, which was the Sunday League going back.
Yeah, yeah. No, we had some good success. The promotions. I was there for one, and then I think I left. We might have got back, might have been put back down, and then we got them back up again. And then the relegation was the first division, which was a tough year. That was the year that we were flooded out, and we had a season at Kitty, and we struggled a little bit to take wickets in that particular season, and found first division quite tricky. But it was it was a really fun time at Worcester, and great people, and again learned a lot playing with guys like Graham Hick and Vikram Solanki, and these sort of guys were. Moen Ali was there as a young fella as well, and Doug Bollinger was my other overseas pro, which sort of kept everything interesting. He's one of those serial pests. He's one of those guys you just love playing with. He's always keeps things really interesting and fun, and just a really good character.
How high did you rate Graham Hick? He didn't quite do it at Test level, but county level he was the best.
Extremely dominant at county. Yeah, over 100 hundreds in first class cricket. You can play a bit when you get that. And he was a very, very good player. I always wonder what he would have done at Test level if he was given an opportunity later in his career, because he just knew his game so well. Like in his late 20s, early 30s, and like I played with him when I think he was 40. He was nearly 40 when I was playing with him, and he was still a fantastic player, and he just knew his game inside out, and just a wealth of knowledge. Pretty quiet guy, but he was just the absolute seasoned pro. Like no matter who came to the club, he always beat them in the fitness. He was just like, I'm beating this person, and he just kill himself until he didn't. Young punks would challenge him on the running track, and he'd go, okay. He'd just stick with them, and then he'd break them and take their soul. Absolutely, just really real professional guy. Always looked after himself physically, and just knew his game inside out.
Then 2012, 2013, it's back to Yorkshire.
Yeah. I went back to Yorkshire, back on the passport as a local player again. So I think I'm the only one that's gone back and forth. It was an opportunity to finish off my career in England, and at that point, I just had back surgery. I played a season in Australia, and I did okay. I didn't do great in Australia. I did all right, but I just wanted to go back and have fun. I wasn't going to play for Australia again at that point. The selectors made that pretty clear that they were only picking younger guys at that point. So I basically said, well, I just want to go where I'm going to have my most fun and enjoy my cricket and try and play, for a place where I really feel valued and I feel I love playing at Yorkshire. And when there was an opportunity to go back there, I sort of just messaged one of the players when I was thinking about it and just said, have a word for me, see what they think. And then all of a sudden the wheels were in motion, and then Dizzy got me over. And Dizzy was a coach at that point, and we'd played a little bit together for Australia. And he said, I want you to come over and I want you to mentor some of these younger guys coming through. And they were the Roots and the Bairstows and the Balancers and Adam Lyth and these sort of guys. So there was an opportunity to work with some good young batters and sort of pass on a little bit of knowledge as well, and just just basically play some good cricket at the back end of my career and have fun and enjoy it. And I thoroughly enjoyed the couple of seasons I had back at Yorkshire again, and I thought I was going to retire at that point. I'd sort of we were sort of ready to come back home. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to go another season, and then Nottinghamshire came in and said, we want you to come in for the first half of the year and negotiate some of these green tops at Trent Bridge for us. So I was back on another green top again, and away we went. But it was even that time was a fantastic time. It was only 3 months, but they just made me feel like part of the family straight away. And and it was the reason I only stayed for 3 months was I'd sort of already spoken about potentially getting into coaching back in New South Wales, and I knew that this job was coming up, and so I said to Nottingham that, hey, I'll sign for the 3 months. I'll guarantee you for 3 months, and if I don't take this job, I'll play for you for 2 years. So that was kind of the arrangement that we had, and they let me go back and interview, and then I got the job, and then I didn't go back, unfortunately. That was it.
You scored nearly 9,000 runs in county championship cricket. You got 1 wicket. I've got to ask you about the wicket. You got Ed Joyce out.
I did. He's played for not one country. He's played for 2 countries. So there's a bit of a feather in the cap there. He's played for England and Ireland, which is good. So 2 international wickets I counted, even though I got 1.
So I can. If I read out the bowling figures, then that sort of.
No, let's not do that.
6 overs, no maidens.
No, that's right.
Well, 1 wicket, we'll say. Quite an interesting. This must have been declaration bowling. I've looked at the score.
I did my job. Yeah,
333 for 3 or 47 overs. This is for Yorkshire. Yeah.
Again, I did my job.
Sussex, at Hove.
Yeah,
small ground.
I did my job. I basically my job was to try and go at 9 and over, 10 and over, and I thought I could do that easy. That's easy. I don't have to try doing that. So I was bowling my dirty little left arm Chinamans, and the first one I bowled, I actually ripped it past his edge, landed in the rough and ripped it past his edge, and Ed Joyce was just like, what the hell? This guy doesn't bowl, and then proceeded to just serve him up the biggest load of trollop you've ever seen in your life, and then ended up getting him caught at mid-off to a ball that nearly bounced twice. But we'll just keep that one quiet amongst us, eh?
You see 9 and over nowadays in the IPL. That's quite good bowling.
Oh yeah, economical. Yeah. I'd get a multi-million-dollar deal for that. But I was just I tried to get the first one for 4 and then bowl properly. And there was a couple of times where I was going at 13, 14 and over, and the captain's like, mate, you got to keep it tight here. We're going for too many. Like, they're going to get too many and we won't be able to chase them. And I'm like, well, you're bowling me. Like, what do you want me to do? But yeah, no, it was one of those things. I was actually a better pace bowler than I was a spinner, but back history didn't help. So I had to give them away. Bowled a little bit in first grade cricket here as a pace bowler, but yeah, I did my job bowling my spinners, did my job.
Did you love one county more than others, or you love them all?
No, I've got a soft spot for all of them. As I said, they were all so good to me. Northampton for the sheer education value and the opportunity. Yorkshire, because it was my dad's home county, it meant a lot. I managed to captain the game, and I actually got Dad over in my last season to come and spend some time, and he followed me around for a couple of months, which was really special time with him. after my mum passed away. So that was a soft spot there for Yorkshire. That felt like my home county because of my ties there. But then Worcestershire, again, treated me like one of their own. And I had some really good success there, and and it was a real springboard for me to play for Australia, and not at the end of my career to be able to finish how I wanted to finish as well, and finish on my terms, which not many players get. So to be able to get that opportunity to be able to finish how I wanted to finish, and I averaged 50 in my last 3 months stint there, and got back to playing how I wanted to play, and I got myself really fit and finished how I wanted to finish, which was strongly, and and hopefully people can remember me for the player that I was, not the player that my back injury hurt me to be, which was at the back end of my Shield career.
Was the travelling a hard graft in those days?
Yeah, it was, but highly enjoyable as well. Like, we used to get coaches most places, and so the camaraderie on the buses and things like that are some of the best memories that I had of county cricket, and the friendships and the relationship you make, and with those people that are playing county cricket. You're spending so much time together, or, you really do feel like they're part of your family. And like Jeff Cook, who got me the opportunity at Northamptonshire, we're still really close now. We're actually doing some business together, and in the clothing trade, and and he's we speak quite regularly, once a week, and those friendships, they last forever, and that's something that I'll always really cherish. And the travel and all that sort of stuff. Like, as I said, we used to go travel in coaches most of the time, but occasionally we go in cars, and then you're in with a couple of close people for that time, and you develop those relationships, and some really funny times in some of those trips as well.
Have you got a favourite ground for all those 8 years you played sort of county cricket?
I wouldn't say I've got a favourite ground, no. I really enjoyed all the grounds. I mean, all those test grounds are special, aren't they? The feeling, the history of Lords, and Yorkshire was special because, as I said, the ties I had there. But I loved all of those grounds. I loved batting. Northampton was great to bat on at that point. I really enjoyed batting there. Taunton was always good fun. You always go down expecting a good wicket there. I like the variety of what county cricket gives you. Like, you've got every season over the course of the year, and all different types of wickets. You start on green wickets that move around and are slow, and then they get to become pretty good batting wickets for a little while through the middle, and then they spin at the back end and stay a little bit low as they get a bit more tired. And so you're getting all the conditions and all the education. That was the thing that I loved about it. I felt like it really accelerated my learning, and the fact you're playing 16 games a year, you're just playing so much first-class cricket.
So you'd recommend any young Aussie to come over and play county cricket if they could?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially as a batter. Bowler, maybe not. Maybe a short stint. It's a hard grind for the bowlers over there. It's a hard grind. And they have to be managed now, and they are managed really, really well. But, it's a hard grind, especially for those express guys. But, the guys that, sort of all that 130 pace, and can hold their pace at that stage, I think it's still really beneficial for them. And as a young batter, I think you can't beat a season of county cricket for your learning.
What about the best tee over all those games and grounds you played at?
Lords by far. Lords was unbelievable.
Everyone says that, don't they?
Like a la carte. Like, you get a menu when you turn up. It's literally unbelievable. And Derbyshire was unbelievable for a year or two there as well. They had this chef that was just loved cooking, and it was always like different food. And I think he ended up getting moved on because it was costing them too much money. But it was like that for a couple of seasons there. Like, Derbyshire was right up there with Lords. They were trying to match them, that's for sure. Lords was that's an experience.
I guess in those days you must have eaten far more than they do today with all the different drinks and the different foods they eat nowadays.
Yeah, I think I don't think you would have the menus that were served up when we were playing would be passed for the nutritionists these days. But they were unbelievable food. The cricket always got in the way of a good meal there for a while, but it was yeah, unbelievable experience. Really was.
How did county cricket compare to playing Sheffield Shield cricket?
Yeah, well, I get asked that a lot, and people are saying, "Oh, county cricket's not as strong as Shield cricket," and I disagree. I think it is strong. So I think it's really strong, and I reckon the conditions make it even stronger. I think it brings a lot of the bowlers. They don't have a lot of as many express bowlers as they do in Shield cricket, and I think that's to do with the surfaces that we play in Australia. You have to bowl at kind of 140 k's an hour or be really, really skillful and really, really accurate. Whereas in county cricket, I think you can get away with being accurate and skillful, and you don't need that express pace as much because the wickets aren't as fast and they're not as flat as in Australia. In saying that, the wickets they're playing on now in Shield cricket are a lot more spicy than they were when we played. They were a lot more traditional in their characteristics back in my day as playing. Now they're either dropping wickets or they're raging seamers. There's got a lot of wickets that are moving around a fair bit. So it's a different kind of dynamic now in Shield cricket. But yeah, I always found the standard to be very high, and especially when they went to two divisions. Division 1 was really strong.
Because you played more cricket, first-class cricket in England than you did in Australia.
Yeah. Rare. It's a rare one, isn't it? I played. I think I played about the same amount of years, but because of the amount of games, I ended up playing a lot more in England. It was just opportunity to play, so I just took those opportunities when I wasn't playing Shield cricket to go and keep playing cricket. Had my 2 weeks off and then get back out there.
Tying up your cricketing journey, you went back home after Nottinghamshire to coach. You've coached at New South Wales, Queensland, and then back to New South Wales. What's on the agenda now for you?
At the moment, a bit of family time, and I've got my own coaching business, so I've been going a bit more into the private sector and coaching some of the up and coming kids in my area and a few of the neighbouring areas. And I'm really enjoying that. It's a bit more back to grassroots coaching and a bit more flexibility, and I can sort of run my own race a little bit more and do things that I want to do. And I'm able to do a little bit of work with the International Cricket Program, which is actually an English company that sends players out to Australia to play grade cricket. So I do a little bit of coaching in that program along with Jason Frazier, who also is in that program. And I do a bit of commentary for the ABC and for Cricket Australia as well, which is really really enjoyable to do something a bit different. And then I help out a couple of the local great clubs as well. So not the professional coaching that I was doing, as a batting coach for New South Wales and then head coach for Queensland and New South Wales, but it allows me to spend a bit more time at home with my family as they grow up and see them grow up and spend some time with them and obviously do a few other different things as well.
Is professional coaching something you might like to get back into? Ever thought of being a coach in the county championship?
I've definitely thought about it, and it's something that's definitely on my list to do. I'd love to coach in county cricket at some stage. Maybe when the kids have grown up a little bit more, that opportunity comes. We'll look at it. But at the moment, I'm pretty comfortable and happy doing what I'm doing. But you never say never. And as I said, it's something that I would absolutely love to do at some point. I've got a real fond spot for county cricket, and and I know the conditions really, really well over there, and I know how to do well in county cricket, and I think I could really offer something over there. But at some point, I'd love to do that. But as I said, right now, just happy smelling the roses.
Well, hopefully there might be another one of those sliding door moments where someone will say, "We need a coach quickly, and can you come over?"
Yeah, well, you never know. You never know. As I said, you know, I love coaching. Team coaching is something that I've got a real soft spot for. I love the team environment. Love creating environments in change rooms and positive environments, and you know, and passing on the knowledge of how to play and how to win. And you know, I really enjoyed my time at New South Wales and at Queensland, and you know, had some great success in both those states. And you know, I'm sure down the line I'll definitely link up with another team somewhere down the line.
Thank you very much, Phil, for being on the Paddock and the Pavilion, remembering your many days playing county cricket in England.
Thanks for having me on. It's been great, just sort of winding out the memory and back the memories, and yeah, and sharing a few stories along the way.
Sports Social Podcast Network.